Hey everybody, Paul Acevedo, EastX Twitch here from Windows Central. With me as always is Tyler H. The H stands for homoerotic.
Okay.
You can't put that in the intro.
Sounds
Can
good.
you?
He's probably not going to
Look,
attend the
I'm
whole
not going to
video.
judge
Maybe
him.
he will.
No, okay, that's fine. Whatever gets you off, Tyler. That's cool.
That's right.
Introduce
And
me.
yeah, also for the weekend,
Introduce me.
we have the rare treat of having Zero, also known as Adam, on the stream.
Hi.
Yep. So
Hi,
welcome to
guys.
our special E3 2015 stream tonight. Obviously, the presentation could be a little fancier, but we just whipped this together. We want to talk about E3. It's been quite a rush. You know, I was out of town all week for the event. I'm still pretty tired from it. Still have a lot of articles to catch up on. But I thought it would be fun to tell you guys some stories and for us to discuss the big announcements and then for everybody to ask their E3 questions.
I can't wait. I got a few things to say about this E3.
All right. Well, then, should we start talking about the press conferences then? Jamaican says he thinks Microsoft won E3.
Yeah, I think the press conferences are probably the best place to start, unless you have other cool things to fill us in on, because most of the rest of us probably are only familiar with the press conferences.
Well, I wanted to talk about the food of E3, but we can put that off till a little later.
Cool.
Okay.
Hey, Mongbox, glad you made it. So, yeah, Microsoft. Here's the thing: I didn't get to watch the Nintendo one. I understand that generally it was considered to be pretty lightweight. Sony one. There's kind of a divide between Microsoft and Sony. It kind of sounds like it depends on what games you like, or just whether or not you are already into Xbox. Like whether.
Yep.
What do you think?
Are we gonna go conference by conference, or should I start out by saying just kind of whatever?
Well, let's think about the. Let's start with Microsoft then.
Okay. So Microsoft's was good. I mean,
Light
basically,
cycle.
the backwards compatibility, which maybe we'll have time for me to get into my rant about backwards compatibility, maybe not. Regardless of what I think of it, it was a big deal and probably the biggest takeaway from the conference. Would you agree with that in regards to hype, in regards to word of mouth that it created?
You know, that's a.
I think it was the biggest surprise.
It was the biggest surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very far-reaching. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of games you like. You know, backwards compatibility, that's just a big deal. That's so many different titles that are affected by that. So it's not like if you like open-world Japanese games, you'll be excited about this.
Right.
Yeah, but once again, it is in the same way backwards compatibility from the original Xbox to Xbox 360 was limited. This is limited too. This is. It's weird because when they originally said, I'm trying to think of the word they used, but originally it made me think that this was just somehow a built-in feature that they've enabled, but it's not. In fact, sounds like they're gonna be emulating it the same way they emulated the last one.
Right.
So we're gonna wait and see whether there's problems like the last Xbox had all kinds of issues with backwards compatibility depending on the game and everything
and
like
Digital
that.
Foundry already has evaluated several of the Xbox One versions of the backwards compatible games that are already available in the preview program with varying results. Mass Effect and N Plus were not great showing. I think they said Cameo is like a spot-on perfect.
Ooh, I always
version.
wanted to finish Cameo.
Yeah.
I never did.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's dated.
But it's
Well, you can
kind
get
of
that-
rare-like.
You can get that 30.
Yes,
You can get that 30
absolutely.
game pack and get Cameo.
Now, and that's something we definitely have to talk about in the Microsoft. That to me, that's my favorite announcement. For Conker's Bad Fur Day and Blast Core, because you know I'm an N64
He's
fanboy.
the
Yeah.
N64
$30 to
fanboy.
replay those two games alone would be a deal to me. Those games are both awesome.
That's definitely a good deal.
Blast Core is so cool.
Yeah.
And get achievements on those games.
But
for the
Adam
first
was
time.
telling me that he thinks it's okay that they didn't have a new Battletoads because Battletoads is on the rare replay, but
No, what I said there'd be Battletoads at the show, and there was because Battletoads Arcade is on the compilation. So
but no,
Battletoads
I was
Arcade?
correct. Yeah, it
there's
is.
two Battletoads. Yeah, there's an arcade version and the Super
not
Nintendo
the
version?
NES version. Only the good ones.
Maybe it's No, I take it back.
It's
Maybe it's the
probably
NES version.
NES.
It might be. I don't know.
But yeah, Battletoads Arcade is on there. But I saw Paul mention no Battletoads in regards to like a new Battletoads. I was almost positive we'd see like a new downloadable version of a Battletoads game come out. So I was surprised. I'm not saying I'm disappointed, both because I don't play Xbox, but also because I've never been the biggest Battletoads fan. But I could understand Battletoads fans kind of being disappointed that it's only ports of old games coming.
I definitely expected something out of Rare. I expected something because there was a lot of build up to it, and I expected something new. And I think this
They have
uh,
something new, but I don't think it caught a lot of people's eyes.
oh, that's right. They did have that
Sea of
the ship,
Pirates,
the pirate game.
Sea of Thieves.
But you know what? I take that back. The pirate game actually looked kind of cool.
I'm sure it'll be good. It's just like if you're gonna have that, you also need to have a new Battletoads game. That's what it all comes down
Maybe
to.
Battletoads. Maybe you can have a Battletoads pirate ship.
And I mean, and they couldn't get Way Forward or any of these smaller developers out there to do a $15 beat 'em up Battletoads downloadable title, because I think that would have been really successful.
Dude, Way Forward would have been perfect for a new Battletoads, and they love that kind of job, so they would have happily done it.
So Royal Bob is countering my Mass Effect statement, so let me get the Digital Foundry article that I just read. Digital Foundry.
What I would want from that Mass Effect 1 backwards support would be for them to cut down on the loading times with the elevators. Those are hard-coded. It would be nice if they built something in to eliminate that hard coding. To bypass.
Well, here's the other thing about this.
I heard it is a bit quicker.
The game has to download, right? And so I don't know if they're gonna go forward and add more games to the service, but Mass Effect 2, and I don't know about Mass Effect 3. I don't think Mass Effect 3 either is available as a downloadable game on the Xbox service.
It probably
is. So is it not?
Huh? No, it definitely is not.
Well, a lot of them are.
It definitely. So if the first Mass Effect is, I think it might be to do with the double disc, although some double disc games are available for whatever reason. But I know that Mass Effect 2 is, and I don't believe Mass Effect 3 is either. So whether or not they go forward and add them somehow or not, I don't know. But it could be you may only ever get Mass Effect 1.
I did see on Twitter something, Phil, what's his name? Phil Harrison? Phil Spencer.
Phil Harrison.
Yeah.
Phil Harrison worked there too. Phil Spencer said that they are looking into multi-disc games and they're having some trouble figuring out how to do that.
I thought you could pop the actual discs in. You can't?
You pop the disc in, but it'll download from the service. So it won't. It's not. It's not installing from the disc. It's downloading from their service. So.
Yes,
that's an issue.
I don't get what the deal is with the multi-disc games. Is it just because they don't have a single file that has the full game on it?
I guess they don't.
I really don't know. I guess
because I know on those multi-disc games, a lot of the disk space on both discs is the same assets and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like for instance, I don't think Lost Odyssey is available, although I think they talked about Lost Odyssey, but it's not. I don't believe it's on the download service. So, and that's a 4 or 5 disc game or whatever it is.
I would guess that the games that are not on Xbox Live now will probably not be available via backwards compatibility.
That makes enough sense. These are my business cards, by the way. Like, I got so many business cards this year. I just got this big fat stack of them. Yeah.
Nice. Did you give a lot out too?
Yeah, I went through more than half a box, and I only had 2 boxes, so that was a pretty good amount for me.
Oh, I hear that preview invites are like everyone on Reddit and NeoGAF and everything are asking for preview invites now.
We should start selling them.
That'd be nice. Anything else from Microsoft? I hope that Recore is cool. There was a lot of CG trailers at Microsoft show. Yeah. I don't love CG trailers. Cool, I think they look cool. I don't think that they tell us much about the game.
But it established a nice setting.
I kind of feel like, like Recore did tell me a lot, like putting the orb into the next.
Right, but what kind of game is it going to be? A third person?
It'll be a puzzle. It'll be a puzzle platformer. Figure out how to get here.
Third person.
I think it'll. I don't think it's.
Third person action.
Oh, I bet you
I'm guessing.
Yeah, third person action.
Oh. whatever.
I mean, it definitely has a good
Bob, that's not correct.
people behind
I'm
it.
almost positive that I bought Mass Effect 1 via Games on Demand.
Yeah. He said, never mind,
okay.
I clicked wrong.
No, I think Mass Effect 1 is available, but Mass Effect 2 and maybe 3 is not.
An LAR probably isn't.
Probably not. The Elite controller? That's a good question. Let's get to that in a minute.
Good question. Go ahead,
well,
sorry.
first I just wanted to ask, I think you did, Tyler, but did any of you guys catch our live vlog for the press conference?
I
didn't
not.
hype it or anything. Like, I wasn't sure I was
I did. I mean, I didn't watch it live. I mean, I watched the actual show live, but I did read over it after, mostly just yours. I'm not the biggest fans of everyone on Windows Central, but I'm certainly a huge Paul Acevedo fan, and so
hey, well,
I may catch all
they're
of
all
yours.
wonderful, but yeah, I just want to talk about how we did it, and you guys can go back and read it if you want. Like, I was surprised there wasn't more chat from the readers, as it doesn't seem like we can read through very much of their chat, or there just wasn't a lot of chat. Maybe they were too busy just watching.
I didn't notice any chat in there, but I wasn't watching live, so I don't know how that works when you're.
It doesn't get mixed in with ours. Like, the moderators have their own chat thing, and then below that is the reader chat. And so you still can see some of that if you go to it on a web browser. But yeah, if anyone wants to go back and look at the live blog that we did and look for my comments, and there's like pages and pages, like 9 pages of it, and you can just scroll through it, and you can just look for mine if you want. But yeah, the other two guys were pretty serious, but I was having a good time with it. I think I made some good jokes. I was totally on that time. Like, I don't know if I've ever been more on than I was on during that live vlog. It was so fun. Like, what's one of the ones? They were talking about the Division, and what did I say? That I prefer
partial multiplication.
Yeah, I prefer multiplication.
I give you a simple.
Bam.
No. But yeah, that's funny.
A lot of good little things there. Like, I kind of want to turn that into a video. Like, just take some of the jokes that I thought of then and make a video out of it. We'll see if I ever have the time for it.
So for the Elite controller, it's definitely a niche product. I didn't know what they were going to do with that. I guess I'm kind of glad that it's kind of priced at, it doesn't make people feel like, hey, I got this controller with my console less than 2 years ago, and now you're trying to sell me a new one. It's more like, oh, this is really only for people who really, really, really want one. Because, I mean, it's $150.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff has been available. That kind of stuff, like those kind of modifications and stuff, have been available for a long time. All those crazy people that are into, like, modern warfare and, MLG and all that kind of crap. They all love, that stuff has been available for them. But it's cool that they're making it
like a...
Yeah. What I would like to know is it a better quality controller, because all of my Xbox controllers eventually just start leaning to the right.
Well, we don't have that problem on Xbox One.
I get drift on my controllers.
You probably get a lot
Bob
of drool
says
on
the
your
price
controllers.
Not at all. Gotcha, Bob.
That would cause some drift.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone else mentioned Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think it was Light Cycle, said he didn't love it. He's so excited for the game, but he wasn't in love with the presentation demo of it. I thought it looked cool. That was like going through the snow and stuff, right?
Oh, Jamaican.
Right. Like, that's what happened.
I mean, Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider I thought was really good, and this one looks like the same. I mean, it didn't blow me away because it looks like more of the same, more of that bombastic action movie. Video game kind of stuff, but I like the first one, and they promise more tombing.
Dude,
I will.
You guys are good at the tombing.
Yeah.
I'll
say that it's weird. You guys know me. I don't really get too attached to my characters or the story or anything. But Tomb Raider was just one, and maybe it's because it's a female lead. Like, she took such a beating throughout that game. Like, constantly falling and getting beaten. I thought the same thing in this demo. Like, Jesus, how does she even get up and keep going? And, I mean, I'd say it's even worse than, like, Nathan Drake in Uncharted. But, like, a lot of times, they take these falls that would, no doubt, probably, fracture your spine or your ribs or stuff like that. And they just get up and keep going. So that's kind of weird for me.
Agreed. She was getting tossed around a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I do want to say though that there's a precedent for this in like movies and things. If you think like the Evil Dead movies, how Ash gets the crap beat out of him for the entire movie. He keeps coming back. That
The
kind
freaking
of thing.
Hobbit.
A lot of a lot of a lot of the scenes, especially one particular scene in Tomb Raider, was taken like directly from The Descent. So and that movie is the same kind of thing where like it's a constant beat down, beat down, beat down, and then they come back. Although the original ending is not necessarily the happy
They have
ending,
to
but
fight
anyway,
Morlocks
either
too, right?
way, kind of yeah. But I'm just saying like there's precedent for that kind of like constant beatdown and then kind of resurrection at the end to come back and win. And I really liked it. The first Tomb Raider I thought was, really good actually, so I expect this one to be good as well.
I expect it to be
looks
very
like it'll
good.
be fun.
I do hope that it comes to PlayStation 4 at some point and I get the chance to check it out. We'll see. They're still being extremely vague, and I don't blame them one bit.
I bet you it'll come eventually. But they showed it behind the scenes. I don't know which press conference it was, but they showed it behind the scenes of the making of Tomb Raider and how they did her. They created the character and everything like that, and like the fidelity and everything on her, like her expressions and the way that she looks and everything like that. It really was kind of amazing. I thought it was interesting.
It was probably the Square Enix conference.
They showed how Lara got made, huh? So like, did they show her parents meeting and stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, to see the conception. Like she's a real person, Adam.
So Paul, we're kind of talking a lot. You were the one who's there. Any other major takeaways or anything from Microsoft?
Yeah. Microsoft. I guess they did have
the Gears thing was way too dark for me. Maybe it was just me watching on my laptop, but it was dark.
Oh, in person it was fine. Although,
okay.
Yeah, when the guy came out, they had the two cogs walking forward and the dude's in shadow, and that was such a tease because everyone wanted it to be Marcus Phoenix, and then it wasn't. So it's like, oh, we're hiding this guy's face, but by the way, he's nobody you would possibly recognize. So I didn't think there was a point to hiding his face.
That's kind of... I didn't notice that because I don't know tons about Gears. I only made it to the first two. But that's funny. I didn't notice that.
I
don't
know
funny.
if he even survived part 3 because I didn't ever quite beat part 3. We got like 2 chapters away from the end or something and had to stop for some reason. But if you're gonna like tease it like that, at least have there be some kind of payoff, and just a fresh new face is not a payoff. That was cool. Yeah, and by the way, I did get to attend a nice Gears of War Ultimate Edition thing. Like a presentation where they went through all these slides and talked up the new features and stuff. And also on the show floor, they had people lining up to play the beta thing that people are able to get into. Is today the last day of that, or is it going on for a few more days?
I do not know. They certainly glossed over the Ultimate Edition. Like, a very quick mention. Maybe they were short on time, but it seemed like they didn't give that a whole lot of attention.
They were short on time.
What's to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had pretty much leaked already.
Which is a shame. But they had the separate presentation that you could sign up for, and I did get to see that, and I came away very impressed. I really, really liked Gears. As far as the story mode goes, I probably liked Gears 1 the best, although Gears 4, objectively is better having the 4-player co-op, and, Gears 3, yeah, sorry. And obviously Gears 3 has the best horde mode of the series, but Gears 1, all of us who played it and got into it, probably have good feelings about it because it was so amazing at the time. And that's also back when I had time to play multiplayer and still be kind of good at it. So, I was okay at the multiplayer and had a lot of fun with the versus stuff. And now, they made so many little improvements.
Also, Gears 1, it's got a different tone than the others, like it was... it was a little bit darker. There was some kind of horror-y moments in it, and I think that's what sets it apart. And I think, to me, I love Gears 3, but Gears 1 is close behind, like a close second for me in the series because I really like that tone and that the way
more
you know, up
tension.
to things. Yeah, there's quite a bit of tension and quite a bit of just a little bit of creepiness to it. And
Yeah,
I like it.
it did have a slightly different atmosphere, which is great, and they've really brought that out in the
Right.
new game
Yeah.
because it is a true remake where they've redone the character models and stuff, and it seems like visually it. I don't know if it's like exactly on par with the Halo 2 remake for Master Chief Collection, or maybe going a little bit beyond that as far as the work they've done. It's hard to say, but
Yeah.
uh, oh
Yeah.
I think it'll be very successful, and it'll get a lot of people playing that
yeah, how
multiplayer
could
again.
you say no to it if you're a fan of the series? But
Right. And it's going to be $40. Is that right? Do we know for
I
sure?
did hear it was less than 60. I can't remember the number. 40 would be fair for
Okay.
what they've done with it, though. As long as it works right out of the gate. You know, there's a small question of that, but they're with
Right.
this one they did the open or the public beta. Do you call it a closed beta? Since you have to have an invite, I guess it's closed.
Yeah, it's a closed beta. If there's an
But yeah,
invite.
they're actually taking the steps to ensure that it will work right. That's wonderful. And by the way, one of my problems with the original Gears, although I loved it a lot, I felt the story kind of jumped around a little bit, much like Halo 3's does, to where there's not enough connective tissue between some of the levels. So you get somewhere and you're like, why are we here all of a sudden? And the game didn't explain it. Not everyone has a problem with that, but like me, I care about logic and story flow and stuff. So that was always a little bit annoying to me that it jumped around a little bit towards the end. It turns out that they kind of ran out of time when they were working on the original game, and they had to cut a level out of it. So that level became the PC exclusive level. There was a PC version, Games for Windows Live, which I bought and never played like a dummy. But yeah, that level, I don't understand why they didn't ever release it as DLC for the first game, right? I mean, for the console version. But at least they have, yeah,
It's coming.
it'll be in this one. So
That is
yeah,
nice.
you've got not only a nice remake, but actually, new stuff that most of us have never played. And I think 3 new multiplayer maps, at least one of which made it into Gears 2, but never was in Gears 1 before. So, a lot of good value there.
So nice.
Back in a sec, guys.
There's a lot of people talking about Shenmue 3 in the chat, which I guess is a pretty decent transition over to the
Yeah, might as
PlayStation
well.
conference. I don't know anything about Shenmue. I know a lot of other people were super hyped about it. The PlayStation conference in general was basically as much fan service as you're ever going to see. Like,
So it was.
you asked for it, now you can have it.
So I hear. I really wish I could have watched it live.
Have you followed up much about even what came out of it? I mean, I guess the 3 biggest announcements are all big fan service Japanese games. Last Guardian was re-revealed. Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then Shenmue Kickstarter.
Yeah, and I mean, that's 3 exclusives, Royal Bob, and they're all pretty big. Shenmue 3, I actually think is not going to be that big in America because people are getting too old to remember it. If they had brought it out closer to Shenmue 2, they would have done a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Shenmue. I hear it's like a more story-oriented version of Yakuza.
Yes, that is right. And there were more side activities and stuff too, as I recall.
What are we talking about?
Final Fantasy VII, Shenmue, and The Last Guardian.
Oh, we are on Sony. Well, let me
Sony.
tell you how excited I am for Shenmue. That's awesome.
The bad thing they did about Shenmue is I think it's in poor taste to announce a Kickstarter during your press conference. During your E3.
You know what?
It was different.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't care because it's Shenmue. Also, Cuphead, yes. Cuphead looks amazing.
Yes, it does. I got to see it in action. Didn't get to play it, unfortunately, but it is so beautiful in motion. I still don't know if it's only boss fights or not.
Cool. It's my understanding is it's mostly a boss rush mode game.
Yeah.
It's Xbox exclusive, so it's kind of off my radar, despite the fact that it does look really cool.
I've also heard claims that it's pretty hardcore. Like, it is pretty
Tyler
difficult.
doesn't like cups. He just drinks straight from the bottle.
That's right.
Cuphead looks awesome.
It does visually. It looks very stunning.
It's amazing. Shenmue
doesn't.
I'm just. Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't bug me that they did the Kickstarter there because this was like it's a matter of fact Kickstarter. This was going to get funded, and I think it did in less than a day. I mean, they basically announced the game. It was just weird that they decided to announce it via Kickstarter
It's
instead of
abusing
another
the
way. But
Kickstarter concept, man.
it was academic. I do have.
I mean, Sony is definitely putting money into it.
Yes.
I mean, Shenmue is not going to be $2 million to make. Sony is putting money into it, but I think the Kickstarter was to gauge fan response, to see how excited people were. And in fact, I watched the Giant Bomb, post show thing, and they had people on it talking about it, guys from Sony. So, I mean, it's just cool that it's been 15 years, guys. So it's cool that it, in some way, that it gets to be made. Royal Bob, your name is in black, and it is ridiculous. I can't even read
Royal
it.
Bob.
It's silly.
Yeah, no, to me, I mean, a lot of people have been doing this, like with the new Iga game, the Castlevania follow-up, what's it called?
Yeah, Bloodstained. Terrible name.
It is a bad name. And with that one, they were, he said, by the way, you don't have to fund the whole game. But at least with that, we understand that it's coming from someone who is an independent developer. So with these big companies that actually have all the money they need to kickstart things, it's not fair to all those people who need the money.
Or actually trying
to
get their game
like
made, right?
their games live or die by it. With this, they're just like, by the way, we can use this to hype the game. It's not cool.
Yep. And it's another interesting, Sony's more guilty of it. We've already seen this before. But betas are now advertisement tools. They're not to test your servers or to test the gameplay features. I'm sure they don't care about the feedback. They have these betas to advertise the game and give people early access to like a game for a week. I mean, basically everything that Sony had was like, an exclusive beta on PS4. I was like, who cares?
Well, multiplayer betas are actually kind of important as long as they. Yeah.
You think so? See,
look what happened to Master Chief Collection with no multiplayer beta.
Yeah.
It's not ready at launch.
I think they're used as advertisement tools a lot. PlayStation. I do think Horizon looks good. Probably my favorite game from the show because I'm not into any of those three big Japanese titles. But I thought Horizon looked really cool, which is the new game from the people who make the Killzone games.
Is this one as gray as Killzone?
Gorilla.
Oh.
No. Gorgeous, colorful, and robot dinosaurs.
I approve.
Yeah. It looks good.
It's the one. I was just talking about this a couple days ago too. How much I like the kind of aesthetic of like, a city or civilization that's been taken over by nature. Like what's that movie with Will Smith?
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Like I love that aesthetic of like the city, but then there's like deer and lions.
Right. Last of Us has a bit of that feel. A good amount of that feel too.
Right.
What else was I going to say? Oh, the worst part of the PlayStation show by far was that Dreams game, Media Molecules new game. Yes. They're the guys that do all the Little Big Planet games. They also did Tearaway. They have a pretty good pedigree, and I have no idea what the hell that was. A painting simulator.
Some people are excited for it, I guess, because, if you want games that let you specifically be creative, then certainly it will do that. But yeah, it's hard to understand whether there will be anything for the general public to latch on to.
Yeah. I have no idea. No Man's Sky looked great. I'm really getting more and more hype. That game has so much hype that it's not going to live up to it. There's literally no way that's going to live up to the hype.
Yeah.
But if you can keep your expectations in check, I think you'll end up getting a really kind of fun, enjoyable game from No Man's Sky.
Here's the thing about those games is that, whenever they, they're talking about these billions of planets and millions of things and all these people, like, what is your experience going to be, though? You know what I mean? Like, because you're never going to visit all this stuff. You're never going to see all this stuff. It's going to be out there. But what is your experience?
It's the possibilities.
You know what I mean? Like, but I know, but that is the question, though, to me, is that what, when I'm playing, am I going to visit 6 planets in the time that I'm playing? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's still very vague to me, like, what it is that I'm going to be doing and that
They-
I'm going to be seeing.
They did get more into it on the floor, from what I've heard, and there's some good gameplay videos and like people impressions and stuff. But certainly on the 3 minutes they spent during the conference, they just kind of again went into like, look how big the scale of this game is, and use that as its main focal point.
Well, I was there at the show, and as I understand it, the final boss of the game is going to be called No Man. So, yeah, it's his sky. You got to take it from him.
But the bump.
Well,
There
that's
you
what I
go.
heard.
Is that true?
No,
that would
it's
be
not
interesting.
true.
Well, that's what I heard.
Like it would be
That
cool
is-
if it was some sort of weird god.
It would be rad, right?
I don't know
Come
why
on.
his name would be No Man. Name would be No
Potential
Man.
there, Adam.
No, I'm intrigued. I'm certainly intrigued by that game. PlayStation. What
Let me
else
tell you
did
a quick
PlayStation
No Man's
do?
Sky story.
What about Last Guardian?
Okay, yeah,
Go
before
ahead.
we get to Last Guardian.
What about Last Guardian?
Yeah,
Okay.
just real quick, you know, like
the No
I
Man's
spent a
Sky
lot of
story.
time with
Yep.
the Elite Dangerous developers. Are we all familiar with that game? It's another space game with a big.
It's a space.
Yep,
It's exploration, right?
Yeah, a lot
Kind
of
of.
exploration. You can do trading, and you can be a pirate and just fight people
Okay.
and stuff.
So like
I
that
wanna
old
be a pirate.
that 360 downloadable game. What the hell was it called? That awful
Um,
game.
That wasn't awful.
Wing Commander
It was
Arena.
terrible.
That was awful.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah,
with your
no,
story.
I have more to say about the story, but I just want to point out that I took the opportunity to get them to compare the two games, you know? And the guy
Mhm.
really did not want to compare them. I don't know if it was, you know, if he thought it would come out unfavorable or if he just didn't want to, like, say something, if he was afraid I would use it against him in some way, you know? But, like, yeah, I don't know. He just said they were different and he didn't want to get much into it.
You know, and no one's played No Man's Sky. You know what I mean? So how could you even know? Really, for real.
Oh, one thing they did say, though, is that in Elite, everyone kind of starts at the same place and goes outward. And, wait, no. Is that what he said? In one of them, everyone starts in the same place and goes out. And in the other one, everybody starts in a random place. I think that's No Man's Sky. So, like, they were just saying how it might be a different experience as far as multiplayer and social things go.
Is that game coming to PS4? Any
Elite?
idea?
Not anytime soon, but it may eventually.
Okay.
All right, now let's talk about Last Guardian. Tell me all about it.
I mean, I just thought it was cool.
It did look cool. It looked great.
As a huge fan of
If you like
Shadow of
those
the Colossus,
games,
I have not played Eco. I wish I could. I wish I did, but I have not. But I did love Shadow of the Colossus, and it looked just visually.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You could tell.
It's taking you right back into that world.
Yeah, just visually, you could tell that it was those people again. And I don't know. I thought it looked really good. I mean, you know, it's tough. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, they've been developing it for 25 years," but you know, like whatever.
Stoney says he thought they were PS3 level graphics. Do you guys agree with that?
They weren't amazing graphics. I mean, the main character is cartoonish. I liked the feather movement on the dog bird. I thought it looked cool. Maybe it looked washed out to people. Yeah, but I mean, the series has never been known for its graphics. Ico, they always say Ico is a PS1 game on PS2. The series has never been known for its graphics, and this one's not going to look great on its graphics. It also seemed a tiny bit twitchy, even on the platforming. Like he got stuck on a little couple steps real quick
I'm sure
a couple
they'll fix
times.
that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, you know, that's not why you play those games. Really, that's not what they're going for. It definitely looks good enough. No, it's not. It doesn't look like Uncharted 4 or Gears 4.
No, it didn't. But,
And it's
you
never
know.
going to if they're using any assets that came from 5 years ago or 3 years ago.
I mean,
or
art
whatever.
design and atmosphere are the real features of those games, and I'm sure
Right.
they'll do fine on that.
Yep, I think it looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
So to compare the PlayStation and Xbox ones, I think it's exactly what you said right at the beginning. It depends on what games you're more interested in. I'm honestly not that interested in Shenmue. I mean, I'll check it out, or Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'll check out Last Guardian for sure. But I'm also not necessarily a Halo or Gears guy. But I mean, it totally depends on what you're looking for. Most people on the internet will say Sony had the best conference because it was so much fan service.
Tyler,
so much.
I mean,
What they want.
Final Fantasy VII alone is going to push people.
Although that one is not
like, over the
actually a
edge.
true exclusive. It's
It
timed.
is not a. It's a timed
Yeah,
exclusive,
so
which is
Really?
for
bad,
Xbox
but-
fans. That's exciting because it means that yes, eventually
I mean,
it's
what
going
is?
to get there.
Yeah, in
Yes.
2018.
Well, however long.
Well, it'll be 2017 before PlayStation
We've waited some
gets it.
people's entire
Right.
lifetimes to get this remake already. So
Well, the
Well-
secret is Final Fantasy VII is kind of crap. So if you guys waited this long,
That's
you've made a mistake.
that's what I've heard too. Most people no longer consider Final Fantasy VII to be the be all end all of Final Fantasy.
It just depends what you grew up on. I mean,
just that
it's
nostalgia that
it is
going
nostalgia
from.
because going back to Final Fantasy VII, it's honestly, and I'm not even. It's like, it's one of the worst Final
it was
Fantasies
a big
I've
step
played.
down from the two that came before it. So that was
It has a
That's
weird,
what other people say too.
like the original. Maybe they will, maybe they will do a lot of improvements, and probably they will. But the original Final Fantasy, okay, first of all, I'm not 49. I don't want to. I want to dispute that. I'm not
Giggling.
49. But like there's like a weird, like, as if like 2 or 3 studios worked on the art, because like sometimes it's like the weird big-headed cutesy stuff, and sometimes it's not. And
we don't have to worry about that in
the
the
game
remake.
is just. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying the original Final Fantasy. I know you love it, Icky, but I'm just saying. I am just saying. Let me ask you something, Icky. Was it one of the first big role-playing games you
Tyler,
played?
did we do the second giveaway already?
No, but I can do it right now. The other thing, I disagree with Royal Bob on most of this, but I 100% agree with him that the Microsoft conference was, here's this game, and here's about when you'll be able to play it. Sony's was, hey, look, this game exists. And that's where they stopped talking about, their big announcements. Shenmue, no way it comes out next year. Final Fantasy VII.
Oh no, yeah.
Maybe the end of next year, maybe. Last Guardian, they say 2016. Who knows? Holiday 2016, probably at the earliest. Microsoft's like, we have these games this year. We have this game early next year, because I think Recore is spring 2016. They said Gears holiday 2016. So Microsoft definitely put a timeline on their games. And Sony didn't because they can't.
Yeah, because when Phil Spencer came on, like Don Matrick left him in a bad position. No games and all this bad will. And Phil Spencer came on and he was like, okay, we have to get a bunch of strong games out quick or we're never going to be able to compete. And finally, we're seeing all of that pay off,
The fruit of that, yep. Yeah, and it honestly feels like, I don't know if PlayStation's internal teams are struggling with the PS4 or they're just taking their sweet-ass time. Or if maybe they started relaxing right at the beginning of the new console generation for some reason. I don't know, but we're going to be 2 years in this holiday, and this holiday is probably going to be the lightest of the 3 holidays that the PS4 has been out.
That is a shame for them. But by the way, Tyler, you said you were not into Gears, but you did buy that Gears wannabe game, and you traded it right away. But I mean, like, Gears is like 5 times the game that is easily, and
the order's cool.
Yeah, but Gears is just a heck of a lot more than that, like
the
the
co-op.
order's like
I mean,
Gears is elbow or something like.
And also the order, they decided not to focus on gameplay. I don't like the decision ever. Gears is still focused on gameplay.
Gears is more colorful, even though it's not especially colorful. It does have co-op. It has competitive multiplayer. It has a horde mode. It's longer. It's just a way bigger game. The Order came out, even though it took Gears of War as a blueprint, it was just a much smaller and lesser game. So, I mean, Gears is much more worth being excited for.
Looks nicer.
Order looks nicer?
Than any of the previous.
Well, I mean, of course, I'm not saying they're using old tech or something, but just as far as the scope of the game.
I think they took the style from Gears, but they took a totally different. They had a totally different vision than the Gears developers have. I'd rather have Gears 4 than the Order, because Gears 4 is going to have more than 6 hours of gameplay. I'll be able to play it with other people, and it'll have a multiplayer.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. There's just a lot.
But the Order's not bad.
I mean, I'm not saying nobody should play it, but do you really think the Order is a game that people should buy? Like, do you?
Not for $60 or even $40. No, probably not.
Personally, I mean, I don't buy a lot of games anymore since I get them for free. But like, I do still buy some at full price. For the order, like if I really wanted to play it, I think 15 would be the most I would pay, just based on length and the impossibility of replay value.
It's a real, it's a touchy subject with the order because I understand everyone's opinion on
Yeah.
it, and no, I really do. I've seen a lot. I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of the order. In fact, I've probably seen
Same
most
here.
of the order at some point. Uh, it's hard for me. Like the production values on that game are like off the charts. You know what I mean? They are off the charts, and I don't doubt that game cost a ton of money and probably equal to any, AAA top tier game that was
I
released
don't
this
know.
year. I bet you that game cost a ton of money.
Just for the graphics tech?
I agree with you.
Yeah, the game is it's a wonder. Like to actually look at the visuals and its presentation. It does look amazing. I think it's tough because I think as a consumer, you get the game and you're like, oh, this is like 6 hours, this is 7 hours, and they certainly didn't put in like
Modes. Yeah.
anything as far as like replay and stuff like that. But to say it's a $15 game, that's tough for me because I feel like at you know as what was put into it was probably AAA. What came out of it, maybe you don't feel like
That's
that,
the
but
problem.
and I'm not saying everyone should go out and buy it for full price. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's in a weird situation where I think it deserves. I think it is a top tier game that doesn't stand up with other top tier.
Yeah, I just wish they'd gone a whole different way and focused on the gameplay. But that clearly was not their first objective.
It's a launched window type game. It's the kind of game that years into a console's lifespan, nobody would accept that. Early on, you still want that visual excitement and stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry. I know I bag on it too much. I find the lack of consideration for replay value offensive, and so yeah, like sometimes that makes me, get worked up about it.
Cool. I don't disagree with you there, or on most of your points, but I still think it's a good game for one playthrough. I don't like to put dollar prices on games, but if you paid $60 for that game completely blind, going into it not knowing what it was, I think you'd be greatly disappointed when it ended and you saw how much little content there was left for you.
Yeah, it's a shame, and it is hard to put dollar values on games. Sometimes I just with this one I would say, well, look at what you get out of other games and look what you get out of this game. Isn't there a disparity with what you get out of it? And there is. But anyway, let's move on to other subjects.
Should we talk about Nintendo? I think we can get through Nintendo
okay,
in
real
5
quick
minutes.
Then. Lay it on me.
Nintendo introduced a Metroid that looks really weird and not Metroid-like at all, and weird. Introduced so their big Wii U game is actually Mario Maker, which I guess looks cool if you're into the creation side of things. It's definitely kind of a spin-off of the Mario series. Then you have the Metroid game that's a spin-off. Star Fox is pretty big and is actually a mainline game. It's not like a type of spin-off. Then there was like 2 Animal Crossing spin-offs. There was, Mario Tennis, which is kind of a spin-off of things. There wasn't a lot of like mainline core content. It's like, hey, remember Mario? Here's him playing tennis. Remember your favorite Animal Crossing characters? Here they are playing a board game.
If I ever get a Wii U, I will definitely get Mario Maker, because even though I don't especially care about making levels, I bet the custom content and stuff will be really fun for it. And just...
any of you... Sorry, go ahead.
No, the other thing I was going to say, Mario Maker... No, forgot it. Go on.
Well, did any of you watch the Nintendo Championships?
No.
How is that?
Okay, so
Bob says it was run.
So I caught the end of it, and they had the 2. I have 2 things to say about this. First of all, the end of it was done in Mario Maker, and there was some amazing stuff in there. That was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, they had the 2. But what I really want to say is, if anyone saw this, the end of the Nintendo Championships, where did they dig up these two guys that got to the end? Because man, get out, get some sun, touch some people, somehow become involved in society. Because
Well,
this was the weirdest. They were the weirdest Adams Family
you can't
kind
put
of
your
What'd they do?
you know.
crazy.
Did they say weird things, or what was so weird about them?
They couldn't even talk because they were so weirdly in their own head and like thinking about just all I need to do is get back to my basement apartment so I
Oh,
can
that's a shame.
whatever. I'm just saying there were
Where
some
Bob,
really weird people that got to the end of the Nintendo Championships.
where Bob also says the brackets were run horribly. I didn't pay attention to that. I don't really care about that.
All I
sort of
caught
stuff.
was the very end, the last two people.
But overall, Nintendo I thought was super underwhelming. You know, no Zelda, which they had told us already. But
Oh,
you know,
I remembered
I
what I
don't
was
know.
going to say. I talked to some people who played Star Fox, like some relatively important people, and they told me that it did not control very well. Like, they did not like the tilt
Yeah,
controls.
there was.
Star
I heard
Fox
there.
is not a major franchise when you compare it to Mario,
It's
Zelda,
it's
even
big when you don't
Metroid,
have a Zelda
Donkey
or a
Yeah, like if
Mario
you
Kong.
don't
coming
have
out though.
those, it's probably going to pick up a lot just from, it still has a following.
Like for sure.
And
If you had a big Star Fox release, that's a big deal for a Nintendo console. Because people that buy Nintendo consoles like Nintendo games, so
yeah,
they're going to be all over that as long as it's good. And there's still time to make it better, but
I guess Platinum Games is developing that game, which is both weird that they didn't even mention it, and Platinum Games is an action company to me. Like, I mean, their best games are Bayonetta and
Transformers.
Vanquish. They are making Transformers, which hopefully is
Yes.
cool.
yeah, let's hope.
And yeah, so that seems weird for them to be making. But one of the two biggest bombshells, not out of the two biggest announcements for me, didn't come in any of the big three conferences, but the one was from the Square Enix conference, and that's the Platinum Games is making a sequel to Nier.
Whoa, I didn't pick up on that.
That is that is
Sweet.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for that.
I gotta say, I never played Nier. I've heard interesting things about it. A lot of people like it. Some people don't. I guess the gameplay is probably the biggest drawback to Nier, according to most people.
Well, I've played a lot of Nier. I've played much.
He's very
much
near to Nier.
And I will tell you, I am very near to Nier, and I will tell you that I think it's okay. In the original, if you go back and play Nier, it's okay. It doesn't. It's not kind of a platinum game kind of combo.
Right.
Put them in the air and stuff. It's okay, but it certainly doesn't make the game bad. And Nier is a very special game, and I think it deserves a sequel, and I'm super excited that it's getting one.
I'm excited to check it out. I'll definitely check this one out, even if I don't go back to the first Nier.
Yeah, although you should.
I'm excited for a big, real platinum game on PlayStation 4 because I've missed out on a lot of them.
Yeah,
they're one of my absolute favorite developers.
Yeah, and it's related to there's a PS2 game, Dragon something. What's that one? Paul, you'll know.
What were you asking?
Nier is related in some way to.
Isn't there?
There's a PS2 game, Dragon something.
Dragoon?
I can't remember what it's called. No,
I don't know.
I
either.
can't remember the name of it.
She said to put
It's the same developers, anyways. It
It
is kind of related. They mentioned it in the press conference too. So.
Is it on right? I don't
Anyways,
know. It's not going to go around my head.
The other big announcement for me came at the very beginning of the Ubisoft press conference.
You turn it.
Out of nowhere is the new South Park RPG because I love the first South Park.
Yeah, I really wish they would have announced they were also porting the first one to new gen because that was the whole reason that I missed out on the first one.
Just too late.
Well, you always have a
much
chance for backwards compatibility.
True. That would be a big help. Drakengard?
Yeah.
Drakengard.
Yeah, it is Drakengard. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Bria.
I didn't realize there was a connection.
Yeah, they're connected tenuously, I believe, but they are somehow connected.
How long is a single playthrough of the first Nier?
So here's the thing. You need to play Nier at least
I am
twice.
aware that you have to play it multiple times.
But,
how long is one playthrough?
Okay,
and then
so
I'll just
one
watch
time,
the rest.
I want to say one time is probably 15 hours.
Oh,
okay, that's tolerable.
Yeah. The second time is actually it doesn't pick up. You don't have to do the whole game. It picks up around halfway through the game.
And I've heard you can play it up to 4 times.
There are 4 different endings.
Ending or something.
There are 4 different endings, and in fact, the 4th ending, if you're not prepared, will delete your save.
That's whack. By the
That's odd. So I'm tempted to get it. It's not available on PSN, which kills used prices. This announcement is going to skyrocket the used prices.
They said
of
that?
I would. Yeah, I picked up. Yeah, I would totally pick up Nier whenever you can and play it, because to me it's a very it stands out as far as this generation of games that are special. And Nier is a very special game, and I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying mechanically it's it's amazing. I'm just saying it's a very special game, and if you're going to sit down and make a list of games you definitely should play from this generation, and in my opinion, Nier is one of them.
Sounds cool. By the way, earlier Griffin said the first Gears of War takes him 4 hours to beat. I don't think that's true unless maybe you're on the easiest setting and like skipping the cinematics. Like it's an 8 or so hour game, especially if you're playing on a higher difficulty, which you should. So I don't know about all that.
I don't.
Paul, you were the one who was there. Me and Adam are talking about most of everything. So you want to go into what you saw and what you liked and what you ate?
Yes. Well, what did we eat? The first night.
I'll start sending out some of these codes.
Sunday we had like a little meeting between our staff members. It was actually no, maybe I saw them Monday too. Yeah, I guess I saw them Monday too. Then, what did we eat? I don't know. We ate at some big, expensive place. It was all right. Monday night, Microsoft had something called like the Xbox Media Showcase, and they invited us all there, and that was where I took that crappy picture of Soulja Boy that I tweeted out. Yeah, and Nathan Fillion was there, although I did not see him.
Is he in the
new Halo?
Yeah.
You would think he might be like incidental voices or something, but I don't actually know.
Oh, they changed the way you do messages on Twitch. Why are you so lame, Twitch?
Yeah, so the Microsoft one though, it was a pretty big deal. Like I was surprised. It was they rented out like this whole club, No, it might have been even more than 2 stories, but at least 2 stories. And really amazing. They had Halo 5 set up. You had to wait in line for it. You go downstairs into this 2-story area. So yeah, it's probably at least 3 stories. You go downstairs, and they had all these machines networked, and we got to participate in 24-player games of Halo 5 Warzone. And that's where you have a red team and a blue team fighting each other, but also there's AI Prometheans that you have to deal with. And so that's a pretty exciting mode. It's, like they're trying to combine Horde mode with Versus, that kind of thing. And it was pretty exciting. Although I much prefer the Covenant to the Prometheans. But that's fine. And, dude, I recorded the footage of me playing it, and I was going to use that to make a video for an article. And then the memory card just completely vanished. Like, we do not know what happened to it, and we looked everywhere. So that's a real shame. Of course, everyone who was there was drinking a ton, because those things are always open bar, and that's one of the highlights of going to a big show, and you'll get to see that next month, Tyler.
Nice.
Then the next day after that, Tuesday night, we got into Notch's dot party. Like, Notch puts on these huge raves, apparently, and it sounded like it was pretty cool to be able to get into it, like it's a big exclusive thing. But then Jonathan and I went together, just Jonathan and I, got in line. The line was absolutely massive, because it was at this football stadium or something. The line was so massive, and everyone in line was like in their early 20s. And so here I am feeling like an old man, And they were not, like, the people weren't from the gaming industry, and Jonathan even like spot questioned some people, and all the people around us were not in the gaming industry, although supposedly he met some who were later on. So it wasn't like the E3 party guide is this guy who like helps you keep track of all the parties and stuff. And he had this
Hmm.
party listed with it, but to me there was no gaming connection, so it was just not my scene. And I did not
Sure.
wear a jacket, and it was really cold. It gets cold at night out there. It's like probably like where you live, Tyler. Is it like that?
It's probably worse than here, but yeah, like the highs and lows differ quite a
Yeah,
bit.
it was such a difference. In the day it's hot, then at night it's cold. So,
Right.
yeah, I was really squirming there. But I had another friend, Mateo, who pitched in a little bit at Windows Central a long time ago, back when we were Windows Phone Central. And I met him at the first E3 I went to, and now every time I go back to LA, I try to see him. And I called him
Hmm.
up, and we arranged to go to a different party, which took place in K-Town. It was put on by this company called Gameville, and I guess they make mobile games. It was at this Korean bar and restaurant, 2 stories, and we went there. It was really nice. He met me there. He brought 3 of his friends, 2 of whom are starting their own little gaming site, kind of like yours. And
Hmm.
it's funny because they look like the dudes from No Pain No Gain. Like these 2 of them were brothers, and they're really built. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just funny to be around. Like they look so much like Mark Wahlberg in that movie. Yeah, like so much. But they were nice. And they treated me like somebody to look up to, I guess, because I'm more established as far as writing about games and stuff. So it's not, yeah,
Older.
and well, also older, but
That's the word.
no,
Yeah.
but like
Older.
they're at the bottom rung, and I'm like a little higher up as far as gaming journalism experience. So that was nice, and you could eat all the Korean food you wanted. There was sweet and sour chicken, and there was like beef steak and lots of good things. And we asked him what drinks you could order because this one it was not like truly open bar where you can just order wherever you want, but you could order the drinks that they provided. And I asked him what kind of beer they have, and the girls, they were all genuinely Asian, and not all of them spoke great English, but like if you like being waited on by hot Asian girls, it was a good place to be. But I asked her what kind of beer they
Sure.
serve, and the girl told me her response was Cass, but we thought her answer was yes. So we're like, "What kind of beer can you order?" Yes. And we're like, "Okay, sure,
Hmm.
I'll take that."
One of
Yeah.
those,
So
yeah.
we ordered them. It was this big, like almost 40-ounce bottle of beer. The brand is Cass, Cass, which is, I guess, an important Korean beer brand. I don't know if they have more than one. Like Japan has 3 big ones. Those beers were really good. And then they had a drink that tasted exactly like sake, but we're like, bring us more sake, and they told us it wasn't sake. So it's something else that is the same as sake. That was fun. But Wednesday, I want to tell you my Wednesday story because that is the best. Earlier in the day, Wednesday, I went by Frontier's booth. Frontier is a UK-based developer. They made Connect Disneyland Adventures, Connectimals, and they're the developer of Elite Dangerous. So
Gotcha.
they showed me the game, and I came away pretty impressed with its feature set. The actual controls are fairly difficult. It's an early access game,
Hmm.
so there's things that need to be improved. And it's on the new Xbox One version of early access. What do they call it?
Uh,
Something to make it sound like not early access.
yeah, but it means exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Like first look, or I don't know,
Yeah,
something
something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, so they have the.
Yeah.
Uh, I played that, and then they mentioned that they were having a mixer at the end of the show. The show ends at 6 every day, so I could come back at 6 that night and have a drink. And I thought that would be nice because like I'm better with small settings as far as people go and meeting people and not feeling too shy. So I came back
Sure.
at 6, and yeah, it was a nice little scene. And you could get 2 kinds of beer, Corona and Heineken. Corona tastes so much better than Heineken to me.
Oh yeah, Heineken is like one of my least favorite
Good
beer.
man. And they also had wine, so some people are drinking wine, which I can drink, but I prefer beer. Uh, then one of the developers that I talked to, he pulled me over to his little group because I was just kind of standing there, and there were about 4 of them talking, and they're really nice. One of them was a girl. Her name is Caddy, which is a funny name, right? Caddy, like the adjective. But she's from
Yeah.
Gree. So it turns out that I had some things in common with her because I'm actually fairly well acquainted with some of the people at Gree. I toured Gree and everything, so we talked about that, like about the great cafeteria they have and stuff. Like they have all this nice catering. We had some fun conversations, and Gree develops free-to-play mobile games, and so I was, criticizing mobile games politely. I mean, or free-to-play games, and she was taking
Mm-hmm.
the defense approach, which I guess you have to do. Like if you work at a free-to-play developer, I don't think you can feel too philosophically opposed to that stuff. Or it would be frustrating if you were. But one really cool thing about that is that little mixer is that I looked over and sitting on the couch were two people from Video Gamer UK. And Tyler, you might remember that I really like the videos that Video Gamer UK does. Like
Yes.
they're a gaming site. They have serious reviews and articles and coverage. However, their videos are mostly comedic or satirical. So they take digs at the gaming industry. They had a video where they threw a Kinect out of a window because the Kinect is so BS. And they had a video
Mm-hmm.
about why Splatoon is for babies. And it's meant like it sounds insulting, but then you watch the video and their reasons are
Right.
really
Right.
silly. So they're what I aspire to do as far as video coverage goes. Like I would love to be more lighthearted and just entertaining, because like there's so much coverage out
Mm-hmm.
there that's serious. And even when I work really hard on a video review, there's still a lot of serious, well-edited video reviews. So, but there aren't that many that
Right.
are like hilarious and fun. So I'd like to be more like that. But anyway, I saw two of their guys, Steve Burns and oh God, what's the other guy's name? The other guy's actually my favorite guy. His mind just slipped off my head. No, Dave Skimmel. Dave Skimmel.
Frank,
Yeah, so
Dave.
and they're a professional site as well. They're from the UK. They get sent over, so obviously their site is reasonably profitable. They also have a Patreon thing, so they can put more effort into their videos because that is very time consuming and expensive for them. Anyway, I was like, man, I really wish I could go say hi to them, but they're already talking to people, so I would feel rude. And Caddy just like ran over and introduced me right then and there. And then they got up and talked to me for like 20 minutes. And it was really exciting to me because I've been visiting their site for almost 2 years now. And I really appreciate all of their work. And, I got to ask them questions about things I was interested in. And it's such a weird situation. Like we all have the same job. So like we're on the same level, but to me they're still kind of like stars because I visit their site as a reader and not as a participant. So, I was feeling pretty starstruck, but they were so good and kind. That was really fun. Then finally the mixer ended and we were all walking out. And as we were walking out, the Frontier guys were talking about how they were going to go eat somewhere and they invited me to come along. But where they were going to eat is the Beverly Hills Hilton, which is a full 30 minutes away, but for some reason that's where they were staying, like their whole crew. They had a big crew. So we took an Uber and we went over there and we ate in their like outside, I don't know, like a atrium or something. I don't know what you would call it. But there was like fireplaces that we're sitting next to, real cozy. I got to, I got to hear more about their philosophy for their new game, which is Planet Coaster. It's their new roller coaster tycoon game, just with a different name. And it sounds so much better than Scream Ride. And by the way, like I brought up how I thought Scream Ride was too hard, and the guy, he kind of admitted it. He felt like he said the development was really rushed and they didn't have time to fine tune it like they would have liked. Man, I'm going on for a long time, Artie. I'm almost done though.
Sorry, excuse
Dang,
me.
Adam's all choked up. Yeah.
No, I'm just it's just moved. That's all. It's cool.
But the Frontier people, it was not only their own staff members, but they also had these people called ambassadors, and these were like super Frontier fans, like real big ones from their forums and stuff. And they paid them to be there at the show, helping explain the game to people and evangelizing for the game. So like some places, well, I mean, they paid for their food and travel, and hotel, but I guess they didn't get paid like dollar amounts or anything. But the the ambassadors, they were so good at talking about the game and explaining, like their love for the game is infectious, and they were able to very well put into words why they like the game so much. And it's not like when a PR person tells you why they like the game. It's like more what would actually appeal to a player and not bullet points. You know what I mean? So those guys were really cool. Some of them were big Twitch guys. Like I met this guy, Bad News Baron. He's a Twitch guy. What's his Twitch handle? Bad News Baron, all one word. Will somebody type that out in case anyone wants to look at him?
Will you do that, Adam?
Twitch.tv/Bad
Sure.
News Baron. He's from Texas, it turns out.
Oops.
So I told him that, I mean, I hope he'll go to QuakeCon, but he was really cool. And he was giving me a lot of tips about how to acquire new viewers and stuff. You know, and I'm still at that point where I kind of want more time to myself. But, you know, we may want to go more all in on Twitch again at some point.
Bad News Baron.
Yeah, Bad News Baron. It's only one R.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's spelled wrong.
Yeah. God, Adam. There you go. Exactly.
Told you I've been drinking.
Well, if anybody wants to,
You've given me.
he was so cool, and he fully makes a living from twitching. So he is a Twitch success story, but very humble, nice guy, and you know, I'm looking forward to watching his stream. So if anybody else wants to give it a shot, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, after we ate. By the way, like, I don't know, what did I order? I ordered a sandwich, and it was $18 at this Hilton place, you know, because it's super posh.
I bet you it was so good.
It was very good. But here's the thing, Frontier paid for it, which was super nice of them. They were just paying for everybody in their group, you know, it's not like they were trying to bribe me as a guy in the press or something. They're just really, really generous. They paid for it, and then they all decided to go to a bar. They wanted to keep things going by going somewhere else, so we went to this place called the Saddle Ranch, I think. A little bit like the Hard Rock Cafe atmosphere-wise, except Western themed, and there's like a mechanical bull you could ride and stuff, which we didn't do. But we did all go sit out, like on the patio area. Jonathan finally joined us for that because he had been back working, and then we just hung out with him for hours and kept on drinking and socializing and stuff. That was like a super good E3 memory. You know, like I've never really, I don't know, sometimes we'll go to lunch with a developer or something, but I've never had a chance to kick back with developers and just, you know, a lot of their friends, and they were good people. So that's the story. Semi-Europe.
Very cool. And I just finished sending out all the codes. Paul, I'm noticing that you told me there was 8 codes, but you actually sent me over 9. Do you need this 9th one for like your review or anything?
The 9th one was to give to the code guy, but if you don't want it, we could give it out too. It's up to you.
I do not need it.
All right,
Thank
give it
you.
away, man. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and give this last
One
one away
more
then.
Kung Fury code. By the way, we will have a
One
Kung
more.
Fury review coming up. We have a lot more E3 coverage coming up. I could have talked, obviously, more about the games that I actually saw on the show floor. I have a lot of articles coming up. Here's another quick one. Farming Simulator. I got to interview like the 2 main guys behind Giant Software, the developer who makes Farming Simulator.
Oh my.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. It was in this little makeshift, you know, this mock barn. Fun little thing.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Adam, quit being a jerk. Point is, the interview was weird because like I got them to agree to let me like tell them my criticisms about the game and see how they would respond.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I have a million, but you know, like one of them is the ground texture not being good, right? Because I would say that's like a PS2 era ground texture, right, on Xbox One, or maybe like maybe I don't know, 360 actually, but early 360 era ground texture. Yeah, but I was telling them about that, and you know, they mentioned how they're a really small studio, like they're only 16 members and that's it. But they did say that next year they won't be doing a 360 and PS3 version of the game, so they will be more free to upgrade their assets. But I mean, like I asked them a bunch of little things, like just little things. I'm like, you know, don't you think there's more room in the game to have a sense of humor? And you know, they agreed that there was, but they just hadn't thought of it. And I suggested, for one thing, is that we'd like it to be easier to ride on the vehicles in multiplayer. You know, because obviously you can drive them fine, but like riding on them, like the game is not really set up for it physics-wise. But anyway, I asked him a bunch of stuff about that, and I'm going to be challenged into editing that down to a concise video, you know, for reader consumption. But I'm looking forward to it though. Like it was a very interesting conversation. Like I got to ask them basically deeper, nerdier questions than usually they would get at an event like this, right? Because usually it's like broad questions, and it's not like somebody who's played the game and has these little issues with it. So that was a fun little thing. And by the way, it's not actually an annual franchise. Like I think many of us thought that they plop one out every year, right? But it turns out that it's alternating years. Like Xbox One will not get one for 2 more years, but they are, or something like that. But the way it works is they have a mobile and portable version. Like it's coming to Vita. Like Farming Simulator 16 is coming to Vita at the end of the year, I think.
I bet you that'll be
Oh, wow.
awesome.
But anyway, they alternate years on them. You know, like they will put out a iOS, Android, Windows Phone version and Vita in one year, and then the next year they will do like the PC and console versions or whatever. That's
Well, let me ask you something, Paul. Did it seem like they were excited just to talk to someone who had played it?
no. They were Farming Simulator at the show got a pretty good amount of attention, but they have a really nice booth. You know, like their booth was pretty awesome. They have girls walking around in little cowgirl outfits, and you could take pictures on a tractor with this guy in a cow outfit.
Yeah, that seems awesome.
It is. That's the kind of thing that attracts you over there, whether or not you know about the game. You know, is like those kind of opportunities.
Yep.
Adam is being
Yeah,
difficult
could
for
be
its farming
difficult, you punk.
simulator.
But no, obviously it's a niche thing, but it's not. It's not that niche. Like it is a successful series. They're able to spend the money to come to things like this, and yeah, it was a good little talk. And I thought they were very patient with me as far as being critical, because usually you're not critical during an interview. So it was a good experience.
Did you run into the Toro guys?
No, I don't think they have the money to go to that.
They probably weren't invited. How did you like Unravel? I didn't get a chance to read your article.
Well, please check it out. I liked it a lot. It's.
Yeah. I actually did skim that article.
Thanks. Yeah, I went into a lot of detail on that one.
No, I really did. When I say skim, I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to say I read most of it, but I was involved in other things, and I
understand. I mean, like I'm telling you,
the developer felt like really real. I thought that was cool. He seemed cool.
Yeah.
Like he's super nervous.
He was so nervous.
And like
oh my
his hands
god!
were like shaking.
I thought his
thing.
hands were going to shake
that
off.
poor guy.
Yeah.
His hands were going to fall.
Yeah, but I mean, he did fine. He just,
one of the things I talk about in the article is how they've been around for years, but all they've made are little piddly games that nobody cares about. You know, like they started out with skiing games, and then they made move games the last few years. And
really?
and I think it's because that's what they were able to get funded or whatever. But
Cold Wood Interactive, is that what they're called?
But I mean, I felt for them. It's like developers, probably most developers want to do more artistic things, but you get you get into a rut where, well, this is what we can afford to do. So for them, Unravel is such a huge opportunity with EA bankrolling the game, and yeah, they were very nice. It's a fun game. Sorry, Deborah's coughing is making me cough. But like it's not revolutionary as far as puzzle platformers go. Like they all have their puzzling mechanics, right? But it's like the visuals are very, very solid because it's got the whole real world setting, except for your little yarn guy being kind of fanciful, And
right.
Yeah, and just the fact that they have thought about emotions and themes and stuff is nice because you don't always get that. And yeah, I liked it. I got stuck here and there, but for the most part, it was pretty reasonable and easy to figure out.
I think it'd be cool. Like you say, it doesn't look revolutionary or anything, but it should be fun. It was cool
Visually.
to see EA put something like that on stage.
Yeah, I wish, EA and Ubisoft are big enough that they could put out like 8 indie games a year if they wanted.
Yeah, I wish they could.
Ubisoft has been doing.
They've been doing a bit,
a fair amount.
They're
of
Child of Light and what Valiant Hearts, right?
Valiant Hearts.
and a few.
And for sure they put out those 2D Rayman games just to make what's his friend
because he's so important to their company. Michael Ansel.
Yeah, like I mean there's no way they even care about those games. They just do that just to make him happy. So, they've been doing a fair job at putting out interesting smaller games, 2D games,
but I
things
think the
like
volume
that. You know.
should be higher. But you're right. Ubisoft is better at than EA.
Yeah, Ubisoft is probably the best of the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could do
EA.
them.
Well,
EA did
EA,
that winter bottom.
they
game.
do have the EA partners, right? Because that's an EA partners game.
They did spare parts.
I guess, but how many did they
ones.
do? But I do remember EA published PB Winterbottom, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's a Take Two. 2K Take
Did-
Two.
Did Winterbottom?
Whatever they did.
Oh,
PB
my
Winterbottom.
bad.
Yeah, because it always goes on sale for the Rockstar stuff.
Yeah,
goes on sale.
supposedly EA has a new. I mean, like for one thing, just like last year during their press conference, they pushed. We listen to player feedback so much, which is just their continued work to not seem so evil. And
Right.
it's nice, and to an extent, it sounds like they're really doing it. And also, supposedly, they have a new push for more creativity from their developers, and I think Unravel is like an example of them trying to support some creativity. So the question is, hopefully next year we'll see more of that, because, like, everyone, or many people get excited about those big franchises, but a lot of people get, we want more than that. Like, we don't want it only to be that. Like, half and half is what it should be. Half franchises, half new things. Right. Oh.
Did you go to the EA conference?
Yeah, I attended the EA conference.
That Pele thing was weird.
God, I don't really like listening to him talk. I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of strong accents, and also like the way they have him say beautiful like every other word. I mean,
it was just you know what? It was just the wrong crowd. It was just the wrong crowd for that.
Way wrong. Completely missed there.
Yeah, the guy on stage though seemed pretty geeked out to be with Pele though, so at least he appreciated it.
Oh, he was for sure, but I just think it was the wrong crowd to bring out a like. What's the name of the European show that goes on Gamescom? Like that would have been the place to bring out Pele, right?
That's true. That's a good point.
Like you got people in LA. They've lost the Raiders. That's all they know about sports.
Did Peter Moore do that?
So
oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I'm just like,
no,
it's just not the right place.
You're
for
right.
Pele.
Although, I mean, like, there's kids, like, in elementary school when you have to do book reports on people and stuff. I'm sure lots of people, even in America, like, do them on Pele. But just the older you get, the less likely.
Yeah, but nobody at conference cared.
You're right.
Peter
I didn't think he was. What?
I didn't. It did sound, watching on a screen, like that he got almost no audience reaction. I think everyone was waiting for him to announce Dragon Age as the new EA Access game, and then he's like, they're going to have a Titanfall on you, and I think that caught people off guard. And then he comes and announces Dragon Age anyway, but that still didn't get a lot of claps. It was weird. It was a little weird watching from video. Like, he wasn't getting as many applause as most people. Because Garden Warfare, besides the fact that it's another CG trailer, Garden Warfare 2 is a cool game.
Yeah, and I got to play that.
Garden Warfare is cool, but that thing was embarrassing. Like Danger Zone, playing Danger Zone, and having the guy come out in the suit like that was embarrassing for that game. Like that game was fine. It's fun, but
well, I will say.
Wow,
EA has people in zombie suits at like a lot of these events, but usually they have like 8 or 10 people like dancing and doing funny things. The Super Brains guy, that's the character's name, Super Brains. Him coming out, it was kind of awkward. Like he didn't do anything cool, and it was just the one guy. Yeah, like they should have had him come out and do a little dance. And I don't know, like at least on the show floors, that always gets people jazzed. So I don't think they took right advantage of him if they were going to have him there. And yeah, Danger Zone, that was in so many trailers this year. It was ridiculous.
It's also way inappropriate for that game.
Yeah, it doesn't fit the mood.
Like every time, the only thing Danger Zone brings me to airplanes. So if you don't have airplanes in your Danger Zone trailer, then I'm really upset. It doesn't jive with me.
Didn't bug me one bit. I thought it was perfectly fine. Except, like I said, all CG, and I like to see games.
Tyler knows everything.
Way to go, Tyler. No, but
way to go, Tyler.
I did get to play Garden Warfare 2 in a nice 4-player co-op setting, zombies versus the plants.
Cool.
And one thing I can tell you, like we didn't do this, but split screen will let both players use their own profile finally. So split screen mode is not going to be worthless this time out. Although there is still something wrong with split screen mode, which I'll talk about in my article when I get to it. Yeah, but we have a good article coming up for that and many other games. You guys, please leave comments on the Unravel article. I had an EA, like a Games of EA article. Did you share that one yet, Tyler?
No.
Yeah, if you don't mind, please leave comments on both of those. Like, it's so important that those of us who went to E3 that our articles do well. So please look at all of them, even not even just mine. Like, if you have the time, look at all of them, and at least all the ones by me and Jonathan would be the most important. You know, like there's the newsroom articles. Those people weren't actually at the conference. You know, they still matter and they still put their work in. But for those of us who they spent money to send us there, like we really need your support. So please support us by leaving comments. And like coming up this week, I'll have at least 10 more articles about E3. Please read them all. Tweet them if you can. If you use Twitter, tweet them out or retweet my tweets. Very much appreciated. And, you know, it's been fun hanging out with you guys, having something where we didn't have the pressure of having to play a game and we could just talk. We had a lot of things to talk about, so we didn't get to interact with the audience as much as we would usually like, but we did some. You guys have a good time?
Yeah, it's fun.
I did, and I totally think we should do.
Basically.
Yeah, I totally think we should do like some sort of monthly podcast or something.
Yeah, we're definitely
In
we're
this
considering
format.
a real podcast. Yes. Well, you mean just do a podcast while on Twitch, or just do a real podcast period with us?
Yeah, you know, something on Twitch would be cool that we can interact with people that are showing up.
Yeah, giving them more Twitch
cool.
content is good. I noticed somebody in one of the comments for today's article for this stream was like, "Why haven't they been doing weekly streams? You know, or the midweek streams?"
Oh, well, that guy's a jerk.
No, well, he is, but no, we.
Yeah.
I would like to do more streams midweek, and also coming up this week, I'm still going to try to do those streams with the videos that I don't have another place for. I would like to share those. There's a game called for the PlayStation 4 called Abzu. Did you hear about that one, Tyler?
Yeah, that looks. It looks like it could be cool. Let me put it that way.
I played it and I thought it was really cool. So
cool. So there's stuff to do in the game. It's not just like experience the game.
No, it's an adventure. Like it's somewhat linear, you know, but some exploration. And there is some story, although I think it's probably told without dialogue. And very beautiful world, really neat game. And they wouldn't let me capture footage of the game itself, which is annoying. But I did, like, I shot a lot of people's presentations, and I thought that's something we could put on the stream because, you know, for people who don't get to go to the shows, you probably don't get to see those very often. So yeah, we'll probably do that, and we'll just Earth Defense Force, obviously those games, a game called Legend of Heroes, and there might be a couple other games that we can show throughout the week if we get a chance. I still don't know what my schedule's going to be like. So,
yeah, well, you got to get an Elgato.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. For videos, I don't need the Elgato. Like, so we can do streams like this one tonight and things like that without having the Xbox be involved. Yeah, oh, hey, Cecil Kilmer, we missed you. Yes.
Yeah, you missed pretty much all of it,
we are wrapping up.
I mean, watch the archive.
Yeah, we're going to put this on. Yeah, we'll put it on YouTube. We will not edit it. We'll just, you know, we'll cut out the beginning until we did the introduction, and it'll all be on YouTube. Yes, I did talk to some EDF guys, and some interesting things I can tell you about that, Royal Bob. Hopefully we'll have a chance to chat tonight or soon. All right.
Guys, tomorrow is Father's Day, by the way. I just want to point this out. Tomorrow's Father's Day, at least in America. And you guys should totally go, because I know that I do not do enough for my dad. He's amazing, so you guys should go out and totally do something. Doesn't have to be crazy. Just show him that you love him, because my parents have been wonderful, and I totally need to reciprocate.
Yeah, Zero's parents really have been wonderful. Yep.
And Paul is a father himself.
So I am.
Yes, Paul is a father. Happy Father's Day to Paul.
Brothers. And Mongbox, she's married, so her husband, he's a dad. They got like 30 kids.
Happy married to a Father's Day.
Yeah, and if anybody else out there has kids, happy Father's Day. Have lots of fun. I'm on graveyard shifts for several days, so hopefully I'll at least get to go out to eat when I get up. We'll see. Ooh, they're going to fly our solo tomorrow. I'm not actually sure what that means. Does anyone know what that means?
Yeah, don't try to figure it out. It's cool.
Tell me about it later, Mongbox. No, Adam does not want to be tied down. He's probably got a bunch of
I have
things
a
he doesn't
cat.
know about.
Yeah, that's true.
He does get around.
If you don't talk to them, they don't know you.
There you go. Yeah, we need to go ahead and cut the stream short. We will upload this to YouTube. It will take like probably a couple hours before it's on YouTube. But if you feel like looking over it again, do that tomorrow. You know, the views also help us. But remember, the most important thing is those article comments, you guys. So please really look at my recent articles. Leave comments. I love you all. I think my bros love you too.
Yeah, you guys are pretty good.
Guys, it was super nice to talk to both of you, even Tyler. I'm, I miss this, and I'm super happy that we could do it.
Cool.
Thank you very much, dudes. Remember, don't hate, appreciate.
See you, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
There you go.
Bye.